more than just steel and gears. It pulls you in and doesn't let go.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Carousel Podcast. We are here with two special guests that you may know. We have Granite Mountain, who talks about movies. Hello, Granite.
Hi, guys. Happy to be here.
Yes, welcome. And then we have Deep Rex, who, yes, is a guy. He's a man.
Yeah.
And exactly. He did a piece, a thing about this film. So just to tee this up for those who've been sleeping under a rock, it's actually really funny. I texted to one of my more libtarded type friends yesterday. I'm watching Citizen Vigilante. And he was like, what's Citizen Vigilante? I was like, what? How could you not know? And I think that just goes to show how like the containment works for things like this. Like they really want to contain this, and it's just like they're not going to talk about it. But anyway, it's a new film that just came out on. You can rent it on Amazon and stuff. That is starring Armie Hammer, disgraced Armie Hammer, who played the Winklevoss twins famously in The Social Network. Very tall, handsome Jewish oligarch, actually. And he was totally disgraced. This is the first movie he has been in since he was ultra canceled for like vague, weird, creepy text messages he sent to women. And he is matched up with a auteur, if you will, called Uwe Boll, who's a German guy who's known for making like really terrible, like Razzie grade, shitty action movies and stuff like that. So they just came out with this movie called Citizen Vigilante. And Citizen Vigilante is an extremely right-wing anti-mass immigration film. We can get into what actually happens into it, but I was very shocked. This was not at all what I was expecting. So, Granite, how about you go first and tell us what is this movie about and what was your initial impression of it?
Okay, yeah. So I knew about the director before, and I'm still not certain about this, but I think you pronounce the W with the V sound, so I think it's Uwe or Uwe Boll.
Uwe, yeah, Uwe.
Something like that.
He's actually going to come on.
Yeah,
I just talked to him.
And so,
not now, but
nice. I just watched him on a Jack Posobiec.
Oh yeah.
So I knew a bit about him. He's an interesting filmmaker. He kind of someone replied this to me, and I thought it was accurate. Like, sort of like a guy who loves making movies, never really learned how, and then over a very long career, he sort of resisted getting better at making movies. Like he's not really he doesn't take the craft seriously in the way that you traditionally think. And so, but he's also, he's known for sort of outrageous stuff. And he's known for working with like kind of actors who are down on their luck. So, the one he is working with here. But so I kind of knew what to expect. Although I didn't see this movie coming. I saw like the tweet promoting it like a day before it came out. And then it was out. I thought this was going to come out later, but then it was out. So I hurried and watched it and did like a review about it. But yeah, it's a little shocking. I think the movie, and I've gotten in a little bit in trouble with this. Some people are mad at me, but I think it's kind of a bad movie. But I'll do my best to summarize it. Basically, there's a guy who he is apparently an American living in Europe, managing a family business interests, I guess. and he had like this estranged father who owned property in Europe. And the movie doesn't tell you where; it just says Europe. There's like a text that appears on the screen. It says Europe, and it's actually filmed in Croatia, I think. But he's become upset with the the immigrants who don't obey the laws, and they bring violence and rape with them. And so he decides to take matters into his own hands. We don't really see him like deciding. He's just sort of already this way when the movie starts. And the movie opens with this like brutal slashing of some woman randomly in a park with her child, and some like African migrant just kills her for no reason. So yeah, then he goes on this like sort of quest, and he's a bit philosophical, or at least educationally. He talks to the people as he's like confronting them and tells them why they shouldn't be the way they are. And he has a few different run-ins. Eventually, the movie culminates in him confronting this Muslim family whose son was a rapist, and he kills the whole family. And it's sort of it's very exciting and very violent. But there's not too much more to it in terms of plot than that.
Yeah, there sure isn't. So we'll get into why you thought it was not a good film, but how about you, Deep? What were your thoughts going into it, and what did you record your pod about?
So actually, I have to give Granite credit because I this was the week that I finally said I was going to delete the Twitter app because I had been waiting for the Iran war to end, and it just wasn't ending. And I was like, I can't take all of what my Twitter feed is, all just the horrible things, atrocities. Anyhow, so I happened to see Granite on Substack, and truthfully just immediately subscribed. I wasn't subscribed before, and to get this review, because I thought this is crazy. Someone made a movie about the #1 issue in the world. And so this is the way I used to watch movies, is I used to listen to a podcast about the new movie and then go see the movie. And so it was almost a throwback for me to be able to kind of be primed. And so I might have even seen a different movie than Granite just because I had listened, I think, to the first half, and then maybe you said you're going into spoilers. And so then and so I recorded my thing just as a kind of a critique of Granite and Conundrum Cluster's takes on the movie, maybe.
Oh, I haven't even listened to it yet. I need to hear it.
Okay, so let's argue about it. This is good radio. So what do we disagree about here? Let's get it out. So Conundrum Cluster is what's his name? I can never remember his name. Been around forever and he has a great film podcast. It's always very funny. So what was his take?
He was a little bit more forgiving of it than Granite, and like take it for what it is, and you know how you kind of just hear the parts of someone's statements that you disagree with, and everything else that they say nice about you shove to the side, and the one thing that they said negative, then you pull that in. I don't mean to misrepresent what your vibe on it, but I guess I felt just like there's some things that matter about the movie, and there's some things we can talk about, and I think there's a lot of things that just don't matter. Like, it doesn't matter that it's a bad movie. It doesn't matter. I guess from a technical perspective, for me, there was a lag in the beginning where they were having the social media like buttons flash up on the screen, which was weird, and it was weird to have someone said that was it a voiceover, or why did the director choose to have that news lady thing? But if you can get over that hump, it has built-in stakes. It developed a certain momentum for me, and that was all that really mattered.
Your response?
Yeah, I think that's a legitimate way to to process it. You can look at it. So just looking at the way people have responded to it, it like matters, right? It doesn't matter if it's a good movie or not. The way people have responded proves that it matters. Something doesn't have to be competent or good or satisfying or compelling, as art to matter. Art is like one of those things that has no really solid single definition. So some people might say, well, if it made you think and it made you mad or it made you happy, then that is art because you had a response. I don't know about that, but that's a legitimate way to look at it, I think. Yeah, and it's not nothing, right? He goes out, Uwe Boll goes out and makes this movie with one of the most hot and button issues of the day, and he takes it on. There's no shortage of people in Europe and the United States and who have probably thought about doing exactly what the protagonist in this movie does, but it's kind of taboo to say it out loud or make a movie about it. So that's not nothing. He gets, there's credit in doing that for sure. And one of the sentiments that I've kind of been leaning into is, hey, good that he came along and did this. Maybe someone can move the ball downfield. In watching this movie, the script and some of the the pacing and the editing is remarkably bad at some parts. It's so much so that it's a good portion of my mutuals on X.com could write a better movie. They could write something that's a little more coherent and satisfying. And one of and maybe he's inspired people to do this. Maybe people look at this and say, I should just try something. I could do this too. A lot of people could. I have mutuals who are also filmmakers, and some of them could make a better movie. I have no doubt about it. So maybe they feel that door's a little more wide open now.
Yeah. So, but what we're not getting at yet is why is this such a sensation? To me, I'll tell you guys what I thought was going on. I've never actually seen a lot of Uwe Boll movies. So did you guys see, I think he had another big vigilante movie called Rampage. Did either of you guys see that?
Yeah, and there's multiple of those. There's a couple Rampage movies.
So what's that? Is that super based right wing like this or not?
I don't really remember it very well. I've seen 2 or 3 of his other movies. I do recall that, but I saw them kind of back when they came out. I do recall some of his stuff. The political reading would have been different. You wouldn't necessarily walk away from it saying this guy is based or something. And part of Mystery Grove had a good episode about the movie, and part of his thing, which I actually disagree with, but he might be onto something, which is sort of hey, this guy Uwe Boll, he could just be. This could sort of be a meta trolling thing. He just knows that there's a certain audience that would like this movie, and so maybe he's sort of playing off of that. Now I think he's probably sincere. Having him in some interviews and stuff. I think these are his actual politics. And if you look closely, the movie, it's not even from top to bottom. He's not making conservative arguments. There's just sort of one right wing take, which is immigration. Yeah. And so you could be socially quite liberal, but have an issue with this the immigration problem in Europe. So I think he's sincere.
I think definitely. I figured this would be a lot more subtle. I thought this was going to be kind of vaguely about this, but not really 100%. And kind of I thought it was going to be more of an action movie with an actual plot. I thought it would be a little bit like Taken or something, right? Where it's a dad getting vengeance or some sort of, or a normal guy driven too far type of movie, right? That's what I thought this was going to be. I thought it was going to be his daughter gets beat up by immigrants and he goes on a rampage, right? Which would have been a lot better for a plot than what we got. But that almost, to maybe agree with Rex, that almost made it better that there's no plot at all. there's no plot in this film. It is the most plot-free film I've ever seen. There's not a plot at all. Like it kind of goes back. It's like flashing forward and back kind of, but the whole thing is basically just a speech that Armie Hammer gives, or a series of speeches about illegal immigration and about justice and about how if the powers that be don't stop illegal immigration and don't stop the like rapes and murders and violence that come from it, that the common person is going to have to do it. That's it. That's the whole movie. And it's just, and then it's like a bunch of violent scenes of him basically like killing judges who let illegal immigrants free and then killing illegal immigrants. And it is like crazy to me how the ending is just a straight up like call to arms. The end, it's like there's no punches pulled at all. He's just like, yeah, you need to go and like do this on your own. And it's like, whoa, holy shit. Like it is like the least subtle movie ever. And I heard like a interview with Armie Hammer from some normie. And he was like, oh yeah, I don't read this movie as an endorsement of what it's saying. It's a complex character. It's like, no, it's not. It is the least complex character in movie history. It's like, he's a Batman, basically. I mean, he does at one point, have sex with a prostitute, and it's like he's a landlord, and so he's like a super fastidious landlord. So I guess they do a little bit of character development that like what's driving him is the need to stick to the rules. So he like hates tenants that don't follow the rules, and he wants them evicted. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I think that the scene with his like it feels totally unnecessary and outer, but at the same time, it's a very funny scene because he's talking to the manager and he's like, you know, the delinquency rates are such and such. You need to evict these people, and his business manager's like, you might not be aware, but this is Europe, and like, you know, we actually have like landlords have no power here. I'm sorry. And he's like, well, just, you know, figure it out, which is implying like, you know, go kill them or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. He basically tells them to go kill his tenants.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. So yeah, it struck me, and like he drinks a lot in the film. They make a big point of him drinking whiskey for long periods of time, and he has sex with like a prostitute. You think he's gonna go in, he like goes into this prostitute sort of den, and you think he's gonna like save them or something, which is, had it been a different film, that's what would have happened. But instead he just has sex with one, and then halfway through banging her, he goes like he sees black mold on a wall, and the black mold pisses him off because he owns the building. And it's weird. It's such a weird thing to have happen, and such a weird thing to do with your character, and so like openly unlikable, right? Like it's like the auntie saved the cat, basically. So it's such a strange film.
Yeah, and I think it's hard to know. Okay, if we just assume that he's an idiot and he's not a good filmmaker, but set that aside, and the end product that he has created, it's so interesting for, you know, I think I hear about film guys talking about, oh, just throw out the first 20 minutes of the movie, get rid of the exposition. I want a movie that just hits the character, hits the ground running, and doesn't mince around with all of the BS that is required. This movie kind of does that. The prostitute scene, that was the most uncomfortable scene. It felt like cinema verite to the max. And that was before you threw in the mold. Mold is like my boogeyman. So
yeah, it was like a softcore porn. So you have Armor just banging a Mexican prostitute for like 10 straight minutes. And he's got a
And
giant tattoo of Jewish. He's got a giant aleph on his side, which I thought was interesting. And that's a real tattoo that he has because, of course, real Armie Hammer, despite seeming extremely waspy, is actually half Jewish or some percentage Jewish. And so he has this giant Hebrew tattoo, which they could have very easily taken out, right?
Okay.
But the fact that they didn't take that out, and he's this like international landlord, the whole thing was so fucking weird, man.
So wait, we've buried the lead by only hitting this in minute 20. But I was gonna say, what is? I was trying to relook at that scene, and I had to stop because of my wife saw me laser focused on my laptop and getting a blowjob. But what exactly is the tattoo?
He's got a big aleph on his side, which is
I know, what is
Hebrew word letter. It's like A. It's A in Hebrew, and I don't know why he has that. I'm sure there's meaning, but
hey, sorry, I'm back. My phone kept crashing. So.
Oh, good. We can hear you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So Granite, what did you make of the sex scene?
I thought it was, it's funny. I initially assumed when he goes to a brothel that he was going to cleanse it. Like I thought he was going to be there. Like I thought there was going to be like an Algerian pimp or something that he had to massacre.
Right. Yeah.
But no, he's just going for a visit. He owns the property, and I think they leave it up open to interpretation. He may actually own the brothel itself. They don't say that, but maybe he does. I mean, his little thing while going there, talking about the mold and like, okay, that's like fine little symbolism. Like the mold is kind of like this unchecked immigration problem, and you got to take care of these things. That's all fine. But yes, they play it very long. I think I heard you saying that it goes on, and that's part of the genre that this is. It's like it's meant to be titillating and silly in that way. So that's kind of like to be expected with this stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, why would they? So this character is like, it's almost like he goes out of his way to make him so completely unlikable in the traditional sense, but it's also like awesome. Like it's cool because it's so bizarre. Like he's going around drinking and banging whores, and he's this super handsome landlord. He's a landlord.
It reminded me a bit of the Nicolas Cage movie, the Port of Call, New Orleans.
Yeah. Right.
You're like a New Orleans guy, right? Have you seen that?
Yeah.
That's like an absurd cop movie.
Yeah, Bad
Lieutenant. Right? That's right. Yeah, and I mean, it reminded me a bit of that because that's how Cage's character is in that movie. He's a cop, but he's deeply corrupt, but he just goes around and he does these things, and you're kind of just following him in a day in the life of this crazy cop. It's a bit like him. I mean, I guess it's also it's making that distinction that this is like a man of the European right. Like in America, it might be assumed more that like a right winger might be Christian or something, but no, like this character, who I guess his name is Sanders. I guess it's making the point that Sanders, he's a European. He's right wing to him just means the immigration stuff. He's not Christian. He doesn't care about any of the other stuff. He just doesn't want people being murdered in the street.
Yeah, it's cool because he's just a reactionary. He's a pure reactionary, and he's Bruce Wayne. He's basically Bruce Wayne because he's rich and he has resources and he owns all the buildings, and he kills people at night, pretty much. So it's a crazy, crazy, crazy character, and like insanely compelling. And it's almost like all the bad things about the character are an additional fuck you. It's like an additional like fuck you to the expectation that this has to be like mitigated in some way. That it's like, oh, if he's gonna kill immigrants, he has to be Christian or like Boondock Saints or something. That there's some other moral thing. Or also if it had been a personal revenge story, right? That would be so much more expected. We wouldn't be talking about it. It would be a lot more just in this normal standard sort of realm of movies. But that's not what this is. This is a straight up message. It's like a literal, like, it does not even pretend to be about anything else. And all of the character development points that are negative are like an additional fuck you. It's like, yo, go be like it. It's kind of, he says a million times, you have to go do this. You have to go do this. So it's kind of being like, yo, get hammered and bang sluts and make money and like kill immigrants. That's like literally what the message of the movie is.
Do you think Uwe Boll is reading BAP?
Well, maybe. Who knows? Probably not. You always think you see echoes of these things, and then you look into it, and it's like completely coincidental. But who knows?
I think that you said you watched that Jack P interview. I watched a little bit of it, and if he's not sincere, he's a better actor than he is a director. Because I think he said the bus scene was his personal favorite scene, and that kind of just goes to show that. And maybe it was you, Granite, that said, why does he have the scene where he has the guy switches the shot glasses and has the guys take the date rape drug? And maybe I am a psychopath, because I was just fully behind all of that stuff. I was like, yes, if we can start taking action against guys that do date rape, I was just like, that bugs me. Not paying bus tickets, that bugs me. And I thought he showed incredible restraint with those kids on the bus, and restraint with the date rape drug guys. And I guess I thought he just does a laundry list of all the things that he doesn't like as an old man. And I think it begs the interesting point that what if you were to just sit down with a quote unquote liberal and say, what can we agree on? I remember I was talking to one, and I said, I think that pedophiles should get the death penalty. And this person was absolutely in shock. He almost fell out of his chair. And, you can't imagine. And I think this harkens back, and he was a European. And I think this harkens back to the speech that he makes in the car when he runs the other car off the road. And I think it's very hard to even enter the brain of a liberal. But this guy, his response to me was, well, where would it stop? Would you start killing the people that knew he was a pedophile but didn't turn him in? And so I'm just saying, there's a completely different brain that's out there. And I think this movie gives a good jumping off point for, I don't know, trying to find the shared area.
Well, you mentioned some interesting scenes there. I don't want to derail like the broader point you're making, but there is this movie is so strange to me, because he is kind of pretty explicitly like, the movie is about immigration, particularly like third world immigration. But then a lot of his on-screen examples, you look at the bus scene, that appears to be like two white locals and then one black person. And then you look at the guys that are doing the drugs and the drinks, again, white guys, and then running someone off the road.
No, sorry, but I think that we can come back to that variation on the races. Let's put a pin in that part, but please continue.
Oh, and then running someone off the road. We don't see the driver, but presumably it's just a local or something. And he it seems like he kills them because their car explodes. It's sort of like, what is this guy? How committed to his thing is he, or is he just, is this just a fun thing for him?
But I think even analyzing him as like a character, I think is wrong. It's just a download from Uwe's brain, and it doesn't need all of the normal filler, because I think it's out there. Anyone who is on Twitter can fill in all of the dark matter or black holes.
Yeah, to agree with Rex here. So just to explain this a little more clearly, a lot of the critique from some members of the right, and I'm going to assume this is also Mystery Grove's problem with it, but I don't know. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong. But it's that there's a little something subversive, a little bit, about making him so merciless, right? Because there's a fucking ridiculous scene where he's giving one of his many lectures. The whole movie is just a lecture that he's like delivering in various formats. But he drugs a judge and he's driving down a tunnel, or no, just a street, or like a country highway. And he goes, "Watch this." And he gets in the other lane and he starts driving towards the other car and plays chicken with it. And the other car goes off the road and like explodes in extremely ridiculous fashion. And he goes, "See, people are sheep. They won't even go in the wrong lane because they drove off the highway." And then he goes, "and probably died." It's so fucking ridiculous. And, but people are saying, okay, well, he also kills a bunch of white people, right? He kills these, or he messes up these two guys who are trying to drug a girl who are white. Yeah, he kills a bunch of cops who are attacking him. And people are kind of like, oh, the whole thing is a subversion routine because it's showing actually if you're against immigrants, you're a terrible person. You're also killing white people and you're also killing everybody and you have no soul and blah, blah, blah. And the whole thing is this like subversive statement. So
Yeah,
there's people,
I think he's sincere. But if you were to tell me, if a year from now he makes a documentary saying how he tricked the American online right or something, I would not be shocked. But I think he's sincere. But I wouldn't be shocked.
There's no fucking way, dude. There is no fucking way.
He's a provocateur. He's a strange guy.
Yeah.
He has like I don't know if you know about this, but he used to like box the critics who'd give him his movies bad reviews. He challenged him to a boxing match, and he's a pretty good boxer apparently, so he beat him up.
Yeah, dude, he's clearly an alpha guy, and he's clearly a guy who has generally said in his life, "Fuck you" to the establishment, right? And it's just a rare type of person. That person doesn't exist in the mainstream, but for whatever reason, he is a German guy, became a B movie maker. But I think what we're seeing here, not to interrupt you, but I think what I sort of want to gear the conversation. What we're seeing is the solidification of a genre. And this is a genre that is now going to exist. And it's the based exploitation film. And there's been a couple other entrants in that genre. There's been Sound of Freedom, which I also loved. There's this movie Nefarious that I think goes in that category. There's which is like an anti-abortion film or anti-abortion film, like horror movie. And there's Craig Zoller's films, Bone Tomahawk and Dragged Across Concrete. And I would say this movie is most like Dragged Across Concrete. And I'll tell you where we know it. In the mainstream, and that's 95% of films, you will never see a black person just come up and stab a white person in the neck, right? For no other reason. That will never happen. You will never ever see like an actual depiction of an actual immigrant just straight up fucking killing a white person for no fucking reason, which happens all the time. And there not being any sort of explanatory factor. There's a scene in Dragged Across Concrete that is just a group of all black kids. It's not like even in this movie, there was a little bit too much diversity in the like immigrant like groups, but this is just a straight up group of hood guys just straight up beating up a white girl in Dragged Across Concrete, and there's no nice explanation for it. There is no like mitigating factors. It's just straight up that happens. And it's Mel Gibson's daughter. And then Mel Gibson, it drives Mel Gibson to try to make more money to get out of the hood. But it's just a straight up depiction of life, of something that happens all the time, which is a group of black people beating up a white person. Right. And You'll never see that in the mainstream. But people want to pay for this shit, man. People want to see this. It's just like a horror film or a black exploitation film or a whatever the fuck cowboy and Indian movie. There is a huge market for seeing this sort of thing happening, right? And it happened in Sound of Freedom. It happened in Nefarious with like an abortion person. People want to see. The market has opened up a spot for people wanting to see justice happening to, I don't want to say liberal because it's not even liberal, but like the injustice of the modern world, which includes, getting stabbed in the neck by a fucking African while you're just walking down the goddamn street in your home, right? Like people want to see this. And what we're seeing is the market accommodating it. This is the beauty of capitalism. We're seeing the market being like, okay, you want to see fucking vigilante justice against rape gangs? Like, here you go. Fucking have it. And I feel like this is just the beginning of it. Like this movie, how much money did this movie make? Like $100 million already or something?
I haven't seen a credible number. I did see someone linking to a site called the Numbers, which does aggregate these stats, but I would be shocked if it had made real money.
You're right. No, you're right because it's just on rental, right?
I thought Grok told me 60 million, but
60. I saw 67 from somewhere, but that Grok is just like referencing that site, which I think is like someone just like keyed that in. I don't. Because it's like not playing in major cities. It is playing in some theaters, but not. I think Bull said it's not in New York or L.A. And then it's not in Germany, which not the Germans would want to watch it anyway. But I don't know. I doubt it's he's selling it online and he's also soliciting like PayPal donations.
I think it's going to make money. I think this will make money. And Sound of Freedom like completely blew everything out of the water. It made like $200 million.
Yeah, Sound of Freedom made a ton of money. This, I think, it'll be profitable, but I don't think it's going to be like a ton of money.
I mean, I don't think
I'll take the other side of that.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
No, so I'll take the other side of that bet, granted.
Oh, the other side of the bet.
Yeah. Well, I just need to know a number, like but I don't know if we're going to get like credible numbers on this movie because those box office numbers are like from actual box office, and most of this is going to be rentals.
Right. It's kind of muddled how much money a rental thing can make, period. I don't really totally get what the ceiling for that is. Like, what's a good rental? What's a good streaming performance that's just all streaming? Because this is like very limited theatrical release.
Yeah, they keep it really dark. The companies don't. They want to keep streaming figures really quiet. So,
yeah, right.
To make it hard to negotiate. So
totally. So the point being that I think that we're really seeing though they're gonna have to like tamp this shit down because this movie I really am predicting right now. As soon as like the Longhouse women see this movie, they're gonna fucking freak out. Like this movie, I think that this is like so much more based than even Dragged Across Concrete, which had people trying to, shut it down in various ways. I mean, you can't really censor it, but it could get deplatformed for sure. That happens, right?
Yeah.
No, I thought what your take. I feel like I'm always in a lot of agreement with you and your reaction to it, and I think. Whatever, that's your training is to try and recognize these things at their incipient stages and make a call. And that lined up what I thought, because I thought this is a very scary movie. And I would take issue with the exploitation thing and wanting to see these people. I think people obviously want to see exploitation 70s movies to a certain level. I don't think anyone necessarily wants to see a lot of these things, but they do want to see people who get off of jail sentences even punished.
Yeah, they want some justice,
I don't,
right? Yeah.
I didn't want to see a lot of that, but I did want to see those things addressed, and I think that there's I've got a load of points that I want to make, but I think there is something that this opens up a Pandora's box, and it goes to show that you can't even let one guy, like they're going to look back. I think maybe this will fade away into nothing, but I think there's a very good chance they look back on this and saying, wow, we have to censor harder. Like
Yeah.
the fact that this even squeaked through is amazing. The number of things that had to line up in the last 5 years for a person who was a major star to have their career ended so that
That's the craziest thing. That
to
he
be
would
in
do
this
it.
movie.
Yeah.
Is like a perfect storm.
That's the inexplicable thing to me. I cannot believe Armie Hammer did this movie. And I watched it. I watched an interview with him before this, and he treated it just like any other performance, right? He talked a lot about his cancellation, and he talked
film threat.
Yeah, no, I don't think it was film. There's some other. It was like a little film public. It was like Film Biz or something, and he just treated it in the most normie way. I mean, he did talk a lot about his cancellation, right? Like he talked a lot about like coming back from the dead and being able to do this, and he's just so happy to get to be able to do the thing he loves again, which is acting. But it's like, dude, this is not just some movie. This is like a straight up like screed. Like how could he not know? Like either he's real dumb, which maybe he is just real dumb, and he's really committed to his craft and he's just not paying any attention, and he read the script, he was like, oh, it's Batman, whatever, and he just didn't really think about it. That's entirely possible. Or he has to agree with this. He must agree with this to some degree. I mean, why he got canceled doesn't make any sense either. So maybe this is his thing. Maybe he's just super fucking based. Maybe Armie Hammer's like based as fuck, and he got canceled because of that. Because he's like too powerful, like he's too. Like they needed to strangle him in the crib or something. He had to have pissed off the wrong person. That cancellation that happened to him, there's no way that just occurred. That is 100. What happened to him is 100% the function of him pissing off the wrong person. So who did he piss off? Who needed to destroy him? I think is really the question. And I think that either he knows what he's doing and knows 100% that this is an absolute declaration of war against, the mainstream of Hollywood, because it obviously is, or he's just completely head in the clouds, like really, really just not dumb, but, completely disconnected from the real world. But I would also bet this had to have gotten money from somewhere, right? Like this had to have gotten, in order for this to make any sense, somebody had to put together some crazy package, I think.
He probably just gave Armie Hammer a percentage. I mean, if you look at it, I will say that it does not look like an expensive movie. And Uwe, he indie finances things presumably before. I could definitely see how this is a shoestring budget. Things are cheap in Croatia.
Yeah. I think there's some, I don't know if it's a psyop, but I do think there's something happening here behind the scenes, because it doesn't make sense that look, Armie Hammer, fine, you get canceled for like nothing, and you got to go do some years off, but to do this, there's a million things Armie Hammer could do before this. He could do a million little things. There's a million little indie things he could do. Why the fuck would he do this? It's so weird. It doesn't make, I can't make heads or tails of it unless he had some huge payday behind the scenes. And there was some investor that was like, we need to make this movie. And he's buddies with Armie. And he's like, I'll give you $2 million to do it or something. I don't know. I
mean, Ube said he couldn't get a distributor for it. And these Quiver people were the only people that stepped up. So,
yeah. Well, that's what happened with Passion of the Christ too. That's what happened with all these base movies. There's like one guy who will distribute it.
but I guess maybe I don't know if this is interesting to either of you guys, but when it comes to right wing things, it always immediately goes into a sort of I think the only other place that I see it is when you're talking about like spy movies, and what do they call it when it's a double or a triple spy, and oh, we can't actually act on this knowledge that we got because then that would expose our sources and things like that. And so when people are calling it a psyop, or that this is a movie to try and trigger the violence that they want in Europe so that they can initiate a bigger crackdown, or things, I guess I'm taking the opposite side, that it is just what it looks like. But there is something, I think people that are way harder right wing than I am, I think that seems to be where they come down on this, that it's a bad thing because of the different reasons that we said.
Yeah. Granite, you still there? You keep coming in.
I'm here. Yeah, sorry. I'm using like a mobile network and stuff. It's just a tough spot. I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'll try and find
how do these crappy you might know this, Granite Mountain, because you've been in this game for a while, but how do these like random crappy little podcasts get Army Hammer to show up on their show? How do they do that?
Well, that theory, that maybe getting points or something, because so now he's going to work like a dog to promote it. That's true.
Right, but like, how does he even get these things? How
I
do
saw
they
that he
even
was
get in touch with
on
them?
Kino Corner's show. Some of us know him, and he's got a kind of a big
Oh,
channel.
really? He was already. So he was on Kino Corner show. That's cool. So how did Kino Corner get in touch with him? I guess we should ask him. Have you ever tried to
That's a
do
good
that?
question.
Have you ever tried
I
to
have
get
no
somebody?
idea. We can ask Kino Corner.
He probably just reached out to Uwe, and Uwe said, "Yeah, free promotion, do it."
Yeah. So have you ever tried to get anybody on your show, Granite? Any like stars or anything?
I definitely have a few. I've tried a few. Generally, just I find an email, but they never. I usually don't hear back. I don't have enough clout, so.
Yeah. No, I know, but it looks like some of the things that he was on, it's like nothing, It's like
they're going all out to promote it, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that will be maybe something that might be interesting is, so you have all this MAGA splintering, right? And people are, at least some people the main guy that I listen to would say that, Tucker and Candace and Kelly, they were all, sleeper agents too. As soon as Trump goes to Alaska and meets with Putin, or as soon as Iran kicks off, then they just start counter signaling him and drop him. So I guess it would be interesting for this movie and what it's supposed to do, and also interesting if on Tucker's side of where he is actually at, if Uwe goes on Tucker, I guess, to talk about
that doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility. That seems maybe even likely at this point.
Well, I mean, so granted, like as far as I'm concerned, you kicked this whole thing off, and then I think, Isaac, if you had waited another day to do this podcast, it has really ramped up in whatever the last 6 hours today with that Jack Versovic and another guy that has a huge conservative following, talking about how great the movie is. He started showing up in my feed, but
I'm pretty surprised that some of these guys are claiming they like it. I'm also a little skeptical. Well, maybe I'm not skeptical. I guess I do believe that they enjoy the movie for the for the violent scenes or whatever. And I keep seeing this word cathartic, which is a little funny, but I could go back to the thing where as a movie, I don't think it's particularly satisfying. So I'm a little surprised to see some of the people claim they like it.
Okay. So let's hear it. We haven't gotten this from you. This is what I want to hear. So why was this not satisfying to you?
Oh, I think some of the things we've identified, it's not a very solid plot. The pacing is just kind of all over. There's these, cutback scenes to history that don't really matter. And then other than like his confrontations with people is just kind of boring. Um, and I think what's maybe a little frustrating is that it doesn't seem like he's really trying to be original, which is fine. You don't need to be original to make a good movie. He so if he's not trying to be original, he might as well, and this is my point in the podcast I recorded. If he's not trying to be original, he might as well like use some reliable frameworks or like paint by numbers approaches, and then just do that. Just do a good job in that and put in your like personal touch, like the message he wants to send. So that's what, and you mentioned Taken earlier. That's like the ideal, thing to copy. I would just copy that, but just sort of
Right.
change the relationships and change like the personnel. But you can kind of copy that. I said I think Taken is kind of that's like the perfect like vengeance or like revenge movie or whatever, because each level of the movie he's like advancing, so it builds and builds and builds, and it's each time he's creatively like solving one of his problems. It's so that's what I would just like. These are kind of the reasons that I didn't find it very satisfying.
Yeah, I mean, as a film, it is totally unsatisfying. It's not like you're not gonna like get any like emotional. It's not like you are in any way like taking the roller coaster of a narrative in any sort of technical sense, right? So yeah, technically speaking, it makes absolutely no sense at all. But it's like all the ways in which it's not that are what make it so unique. I feel like, I mean, all the ways in which it refuses to save the cat, right? And all the ways it refuses to play by the rules at all. In this instance, makes it really great. It's like it makes it, it makes it more interesting. It maybe not great. I respect. It's not great, right? But it's at least interesting. I guess I would say.
Yeah, it's a higher risk strategy. I think for me, when you take that approach, there does have to be some like other element of charm, which some people got. Some people obviously got that from it. I didn't really, but like I don't think the main guy is like interesting enough or funny enough or clever enough or charming enough to make it to like overcome the sort of lack of traditional storytelling. And anyone who knows me knows I'm very much fine with like an unconventional approach to like narrative or something, but you have to do something else. Like there has to be some other element there. And then for me, just like the taboo breaking was not enough to make it like compelling as a movie.
Rex, your response. I know you feel the opposite.
I got a lot pent up.
Real quick, guys. I'm gonna like try and turn off the video. My phone's like 200 degrees, so I'm gonna lock my screen. It might mess me up.
Okay, you're good.
I mean, I have found this that I respond better to movies that have a pretty face in them than other people. So maybe that was what Army Hammer is innately charming. I think he needs to lose a little weight to really really dial in. So he's obviously not at his fighting weight yet, but that pulled me in. And then I mean, what was the thing that was so great about HBO back in its prime was that you were watching TV, and I don't want violence. I definitely don't want just rape. I definitely don't, but it's just the idea that I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch Rome, or I'm going to watch Sopranos, and literally anything can happen. There's no playing with any confines. And so I am intrigued and interested just because I've seen whatever you see some things at the beginning of the movie and you know that everything is on the table. This night could go anywhere. So that, I guess that is an aspect that keeps me interested.
Right, but
Isaac, I have a question for you. As a propagandist, is this good propaganda?
yeah, it's fucking incredible propaganda, and because that's all it is.
Well,
it's like yeah.
I have a follow-up question, I guess, on the nature of propaganda. Like, does it convert people who don't already think this
No,
way, or
of
or
course
just
not. No,
just
no.
energizes?
Yeah.
Okay.
It converts literally no one. I mean, look, who knows,
no.
right? Sorry, go ahead, Rex.
Sorry. But I guess what I'm saying, I've maybe already said this, but I think it's different to see a news line, a headline. It's different to see a before and after picture of a rape victim on Twitter, and it's different to see the preamble video of where this went wrong or after it happened. And I thought it was, because I thought, oh, I already know all this stuff. It is different to see a cinematic portrayal of these rape victims. I think it's a new, it hits at a different level. It hits a different spot.
You know who it converts? It converts the youth, right? It converts somebody who doesn't know. A youth is walking around London, right? And he's seeing this. I got very lucky because I grew up in the hood. So I was able to see, not in the people are going to take issue with that, not like totally the hood, but I spent a lot of time in the actual hood. So I saw a lot of like violence and shit. I saw a lot of this stuff that now has become something you see more frequently just walking around any city. So, I mean, I don't even know. Is that even fucking true? Because everybody says, oh, go back to New York in the wherever era, it was way more violent. And I guess that's true. So to just scratch everything I just said, forget all of that. But what I am saying is a young man is going to be seeing this shit on TV. He's going to be seeing it on the streets. He's going to be seeing blah, blah, blah. And if do you think any Hollywood movie that he's watching is going to depict his reality? No, it's all going to be bullshit. And that's when propaganda is bad, is when it stops being truthful. That's the thing. Like people don't understand the difference between bad propaganda and good propaganda. If you can tell propaganda is totally fake, it's terrible propaganda. It's not good, right? And it's like one of these Hidden Figures films or these propaganda films that Hollywood makes of like, oh, the white man is the problem. The reason why people reject it so harshly, and the reason why it is bad propaganda is because it doesn't reflect real life. There are ways you could do lefty propaganda that would be more compelling. You definitely could do it. They just stopped being able to do it. They stopped being able to make effective propaganda because for the same reason they stopped. Yeah, sorry.
Well, a lot of the leftist propaganda, it seems to work.
What'd you say?
It seems to work, but can you hear me? The leftist stuff seems to work, but I wonder if it largely just works because of the volume. Like it's because, if you're a 30-year-old woman, you've seen 30 straight years of like a certain message about like white men or something that they're bad. So maybe it's not artful, but it was persistent and everywhere.
I don't know. I think as soon as you start noticing it, like when both of you guys watched Schindler's List or Saving Private Ryan back in the day, you didn't think it was propaganda, did you? When you first watched it?
No, of course not. Everyone just sort of takes it as like that's kind of how it really played out.
Right. So that's great propaganda. Right? The great propaganda is when you don't know it's propaganda. Or it's like this, which is like, this is like a straight up, propaganda poster. This is not a mind fuck. This is completely just utterly like does not care. And the thing that works about it though is that it's truthful. And that's like, as soon as propaganda stops being truthful, it reveals itself as propaganda. And I think that this is very obviously propaganda, but the fact that it's truthful makes it resonant, I guess.
Yeah, I think that there might be some. Okay, I realize I'm making a far-fetched argument here that it will change someone's mind, but I think someone that's on the edge, that sees it portrayed in a cinematic form, or there's people out there that have a completely different Twitter feed than the three of us, right?
Yeah.
Or they're not even
Yeah.
they're only on Instagram.
Or Blue Sky.
So yeah, so the thing is that they literally don't know how bad it is. That's why they don't think there's a problem. So if they were to see this and then go and try and debunk it,
Yeah.
You would think that would have to be mind changing when the person Googles all of these things and they find out, oh wait, no, they're underselling it.
Right. Granted, I'm curious to you. Do you think that this is part of a genre?
Yeah, sure, like a subgenre or something. I think you mentioned earlier that we'll probably get more of these. I think that's right. And especially, we can, we're gonna get AI versions, right? That's like, because a lot of what like people are, a lot of what's gonna like the legacy of this will probably just be the clips, like those like 3 or 4 main scenes that people will share online. And like I saw a lot of people sharing it, and their commentary and how they were sharing it to me made me suspect they had not actually seen it. Which is fine. That's like how these things well, it's not good or bad, it's just how information moves. And so this, I think, will have a long life in terms of memes and stuff. And you're going to get people copying it. You'll probably get a lot of YouTubers or TikTok people who are going to do similar little skits with a similar like message. And we'll probably see more of that. And yeah, we'll probably see some more movies too. And I think that's great. And like people trying it, and like I was saying in the beginning, like I hope someone does this again, and then but they, maybe they just someone with a little bit more of an artistic eye, maybe we get a bunch more and we get some variety in it.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like what you're saying is you want just a little more meat on the bones or something to
Yeah,
make
like
it
I
go
think,
down a little easier. Yeah.
yeah, I think this is like so to the propaganda thing, like in my mind I don't think of it as particularly good propaganda because it like is mostly just preaching to the converted, but yeah, it's on the edges. I think it does move the needle for other people, and you're right, young people. But then I think there's just a next layer, and that's like it's not even a condemnation of it. It's just there's a next layer you can do. Like you could do, like I was talking about the Taken thing. You could copy Taken beat for beat, but kind of make it more like this, and make it a little more compelling as to like why the protagonist has to do what he does, to the point where maybe even a woman watching it would side with him. So,
but who gives a shit? This is where me and you disagree. I'm not yelling at you. I'm just doing good radio. But this is where I feel like pandering to women is exactly where everything starts going wrong.
I don't
as soon
think
as we start thinking about things in that lens, everything's fucked.
I'm just more, I guess I'm thinking more of like the ecosystem. Like you'll have this stuff, and then you'll have other stuff that works on other people, that works more broadly or something, or that you can, with a lot of more leftist stuff, you can go, like you mentioned, like Schindler's List or something. There's probably better examples, but you can go and watch it, and you have your entire worldview shaped by that for like 40 years. And it never occurs to you that it might not have been accurate. Like now, should someone just do that with these other topics like immigration or fraud within?
But it can't happen because that can't happen yet because we're not there, right? We're not in an agreement as a society, so we can't do that. Like
it's kind of a chicken and egg
Yeah,
Is it
yeah,
chicken
okay.
egg? Like,
Yes, you're right. You're right. It would be interesting to see that attempted, right? What would happen if you tried that? Uh, there was a horror movie not long ago called something Darling, like Strange Darling or something. Did you guys see that?
that doesn't ring a bell. No.
Strange Darling. Yeah, it was Strange Darling.
No.
Yeah, it was called Strange Darling, and it's actually really good. And it's a you think it's gonna be a typical horror movie, bad guy rapes girl, and then it turns out totally reversed. And it actually ends up being like very based in the end. And that was an example of what you were talking about, except just it's like much more encased in the horror movie sort of format, but it ends up having like a based message to it. You do have to imagine though that there will be a lot more of this. What are they going to do about this? That's what's so interesting. Like, how are they going to contain this? Because to me, it's like this is too dangerous for them to allow to just be around. But I don't know.
It seems it seems like a escape velocity type of event, and I think he will be transparent about how much money he made off it because he wants to finance whatever he wants to make forever, and then that will lead to the more satisfying Taken version of something like this.
A little bit of like a better a little bit of
I mean,
a better version. I just think there's not like the containment works on women so well. They don't like to go outside of their thing, you know, like they don't want to go find the weird movie. They don't want to watch this shit, right? You know? It's
Yeah,
interesting.
I think the talk about oh, he kills a bunch of police officers that are white, and that that's not realistic, that it's such a United Colors of Benetton rape gang, and there's all these white people there. I think that kind of speaks to the point that however hardened these different directors are, or however hardened Craig T. Zoller is, because I've heard people say that Dragged Across Concrete is a anti-white movie because the ending of there's a black guy that whatever his kid gets the money or something, and he's watching a TV show about Africa, and it shows that like the lion will always dominate the savannah, and it's empowering at the end to minorities. But I guess what I'm saying is there's a I think there's in everyone who's supposedly hardcore right wing, there's a sympathy for like the days of, oh yeah, racism is over, you know what I mean? And so I think he has an aspect of that where he doesn't actually want it. He wants it to be about the crimes. And so by having, whether it's stealing a bus ticket or it's the rape gang, I think by having it not be completely racially accurate, it's much better because then it says, no, we're not against these certain people. I'm against the crime.
Yeah. What do
No,
you
complete disagreement.
what other movies do you guys besides Dragged Across Concrete do you think kind of fall in this?
there's an old one I watched recently. It's called Hardcore because
Okay,
it's from
let me
the,
write
it's from
this
the
down.
it's from the 70s. And it's not so much a vigilante thing because I don't think the guy really hurts anyone or hurts too many people, but his daughter runs off to be in the adult film industry, and he has to track her down. And it's kind of this like exploring this underworld and what happens when a good man has to come up against this system. And it has a very funny ending on that kind of speaks to the woman question. Um, but yeah, I like this genre a lot of like guys who take matters into their own hands, and I don't mind if they're like schlocky, whatever. But hardcore was one I was thinking about recently.
And that's from the 70s.
It's George C.
Yeah.
Scott and Red Scare used to, I think, popularized it.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's really good. It's not, it's a horrible topic. I mean, it's by the guy that wrote Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
I can never think of names when I'm live, but
Schrader,
and
yeah, Paul
Schrader. Oh,
yeah,
Schrader hardcore. Okay.
this is not in the same genre. I think I I love the '70s, so I think there's probably some that are, yeah, aside from the obvious Death Wish franchise, that go into this. But did you ever see Force Majeure?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love Force Majeure.
So I mean, when I think of the woman question, that's the first movie that comes up because of the, well, there's a thing at the end that is subtle, but it whatever, it turns the tables on the dad who's been taking a beating the whole movie.
Wait, what happens at the end? Remind me what you can spoiler. What happens at the end of Force Majeure again?
So it's very interesting. The setup, which maybe everybody knows, is that they're at a ski town, and or they're at a restaurant on the slopes, and there's an avalanche that's coming, and everyone thinks, oh, funny avalanche, but then it gets closer and closer and closer, and the dad grabs his gloves and his phone, as his wife says, you grabbed your gloves and your phone and you left me and the kids. And but what they only actually end up getting a slight dusting, so no one gets hurt, but the marriage has to deal with the fallout of this abandonment through the whole thing. And and then at the end, if you've ridden these buses down these crazy mountain roads, it is pretty terrifying. So I'm sympathetic to the wife, but the bus kind of gets stuck a little bit, and she freaks out, uh, and she gets everybody else on the bus to get off the bus because this male driver, is crazy, and we're all gonna die. And then I forget if one guy does stay on the bus, but basically, uh, the bus gets out of the jam, and it was never really that bad, and drives down the road, and now all these people are stuck with like a 3 4 hour walk down the mountain.
Right.
And the dad just like bums a cigarette, because obviously he's not supposed to smoke because he's a henpecked dad. He bums a cigarette from a guy and just kind of has a smile at the end, saying, you know uh, so
Yeah.
yeah, there's something about the woman question there.
I think that we're dealing here though with a genuinely new reactive genre, and I think that's the best we can hope for. I don't think we're ever going to get we're not the you know the completely like full-time dissident right talker class of people constantly dreams of our Schindler's List, right? But I don't think we're going to get that. I think the best we're going to get is like a great counter genre. Like we're going to like, yeah, like let's just make like 100 of these. And I think that eventually one will be good. I thought Sound of Freedom was really good, actually. I loved Sound of Freedom.
Sound of Freedom is good. I'm a big believer in making a lot of movies. I wrote an article about if we could just get a little money from Elon and we could do a 100 different movies or something like that. So I did this article pitching like a bunch of different movies. Like you could do, like a $1 million horror movie about like guidance counselors and therapists who tell kids to self mutilate or something like that. And you could do a ton of these and you just see what happens. Like we just saw these two recent horror movies that did really well. One of them was very, very cheap. Like, yeah, I'm a big fan of just like doing a bunch of them. Let's see what happens.
Was Obsession based at all? I don't know. Actually, I haven't seen it yet.
Obsession is I wouldn't say it's based or anything. What makes it, the reason it's done so well, in my opinion, is that it perfectly like puts men and women at odds and gives both parties the ability to like watch it and say, yeah, this is why my gender is the most aggrieved or like the most put upon.
I see.
So it's a nice little like debate piece, which I think, like I talk about this quite a lot. Like the discourse movie is maybe the new genre. Like a movie that's designed to amplify like some existing disagreement in society and give both sides like enough material to build their case, and then then they go at it. Like, that's how you promote your movie now.
Yeah.
But what in popular culture has done what Granite just said perfectly is White Lotus, right?
Yeah,
Mm.
White Lotus is good
Libs
about
and
that stuff. Yeah.
libs and conservatives can both watch that and
Yeah, and
feel like
find
they
what they
came out
want. Yeah,
winning.
yeah, that's a good point. That's a
Not to
very good point.
derail everybody, not to again with another movie that doesn't actually fit what Isaac's talking about, but The Materialist was like the most Twitter movie ever,
Really, I
in my
didn't see it.
opinion. You never saw that?
No.
I only watched it because I was on a plane and my wife wanted to watch it, and then I ended up absolutely loving it. And that is, have you seen that, Granite?
I haven't seen it. I know what happens, but and my frequent contributor to my show, Arturo, he's recommended it to me, so I plan to watch it.
But I mean, there we have Isaac. Didn't you talk about that Chinese lady's first movie where she goes and meets up with her boyfriend, leaves her husband in New York. The husband is like a gamer, and then she goes on a date with her sweetheart from like when she was a kid in Korea or China or something like that. No,
What is that?
it was you recognize
He's like
the
2 years
movie,
ago. Yeah.
the Celine Song lady. But anyhow, Past Lives.
Oh,
But
I
no,
don't know.
anyhow, yeah, the Materialist definitely gets at the whole women. What do women want? They money and I don't know. Yeah, I'll stop there.
Interesting. I guess I got to see that. I guess I got to see The
No,
Materialist.
nobody likes it, but she's like a autistic Chinese Woody Allen, I think.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, even the
Yeah.
font on the poster is a Woody Allen type of font, and I think that there's
Interesting.
Uwe may be a bad artist, but I haven't seen any of his other movies, but I feel like he really is. He's an auteur or he's an artist. I mean, this is a singular. It might be a piece of crap, but it's a singular piece of crap.
So art always comes from two directions. There's the craft of the art, and then there's the concept. And the concept, why is it that if somebody painted a Monet and put it on your desk right now, it would be worth nothing, right? And the reason for that is because the craft is maybe not worth nothing, but it'll be worth not a lot. The craft is there, but the concept's not there because the concept has existed for 120 years. Great art has to be revelatory. It has to unveil something new. And right now, that's what these base genre films can do. We can unveil all day long so easily because nobody's been seeing this shit for fucking 25 years, like nobody has seen the real world on the screen for 20 years because they've been, getting fed this bullshit. I mean, this is why, we just launched this magazine, Mama. Every article we publish has been a hit. Not every, but almost every single one. And I think it's just because people are so craved, they're so missing the real world in art. You go to the movies, you're not seeing the real world. You're not seeing anything that even resembles the real world at all. You're seeing this like fake world, right? And so it's just such an opportunity. And I think that the more money that these movies make, the more it's just going to be an easy win. But I think like if you want to actually talk about what a real right-wing, actual great movie looks like, it's one of my favorite movies of all time is Mystic River. That is an extremely right-wing film, like in its values. But and it won a bunch of Oscars, but it's not like blowing immigrants up, right? It's not like that's not what you're seeing.
Can you remind me in the audience
The
audience?
central thing about it.
What the right wing aspects are?
No, go ahead. Yeah. If I could take a guess, what you mean by it, it's just sort of the movie sort of ends with this discussion about how there's predators and you have to be real about who they are and you have to take care of you have to deal with them. You have to,
Yeah, it ends with you're supposed to feel morally sort of ambiguous about the Sean Penn character, who's like a very kind of right-wing, do whatever it takes family man type of guy. And he has sort of bumped up against the like do the right thing, more other characters, right? And he, in being totally like, you know, anti-collectivist. I don't know. It's like very much that he is a guy who does whatever it takes for his family, right? And it ends like it has a curveball in the very end where it's like there's this speech given by his wife who plays Laura Linney, who's like saying, "You're awesome because you killed this guy," basically, who like you thought was the guy who killed our daughter, but was the wrong guy, right? But even though he killed the wrong guy, he's still like the hero of the film. And it ends with this very metaphorical scene where there's 3 groups of people and they're all on different layers, right? And the bottom layer is the woman who like told the cops about her suspecting her husband. I don't know. It's always struck me as like an extremely right-wing statement because it's kind of saying like the collective is always wrong. Like never listen to the collective. Like always just do what you need to do. Anyway, yeah. I just think that's like more of what that thing is going to look like. Whereas now, I think it's going to be a lot more interesting to see. Like, look, there is obviously a market here. There's for sure a market, and what are they really not going to satisfy this market? Like it would be insane to me if Uwe alone or anybody in the B movie world didn't just start cranking these things out all day.
Yeah, I mean, if the Hunt with Julia Roberts, which I still haven't seen, but I assume, if they can do that about that topic and get a star like Julia Roberts, I guess that's the other thing too, is who was saying that Taylor Sheridan just takes movie actors that everybody loves and wants to see more of, but the Hollywood is thrown away and makes a movie with them. So that maybe there'll be some combination of canceled and over the hill. And I guess I'm saying is if The Hunt, can get made, then surely a better version of Citizen Vigilante can get made.
Did anybody see Run, Hide, Fight? It's like impossible to friggin' see.
No, is that a school shooter movie or something?
It's a Daily Wire movie, and it's produced by Dallas Sanier, who's the man, who's totally awesome and is the real deal and knows how to produce this stuff. But like no one's ever seen it because it's locked inside Daily Wire like Plus, and you literally can't get it unless you have Daily Wire Plus. But it's supposed to be really good, and it's supposed to be like a based one.
Hey, sorry for the abrupt ending. I better log off now, but thank you for having me on.
All good. Anything you want to show?
Just the podcast, Granite Mountain Movie Club. It's been going really well. It helps to have big discourse movies come out. Then people want to hear a discourse about it. So
totally, man. Thank you so much. Talk soon.
Thank you. We'll see you guys.
Cool, dude.
Okay, bad. All right. Anything to discuss here in our last 7 minutes?
I mean, yeah, sure. I got lots of things. What did you have that you wanted?
No, you go. You go.
I think that people were struggling with, like I said, with the real estate angle, but I think that is kind of interesting that that's obviously where the rubber hits the road as far as housing these people that are influxing. So it's kind of, I don't know. The migration definitely interacts with the kind of physical built environment. So I guess what I'm saying is I think he is probably a self-interested landlord, but I think there's also a more thematic connection there.
Yeah, that was such an unexpected twist. I was like that. I was so surprised by that. I was like, what the hell?
And I also think that at every stage before he really goes after most of these people, there's a very concerted effort to give them one last out, kind of like maybe he was never going to let the family off the hook, but he's interested in seeing if they are still going to just regurgitate the Kool-Aid, or if they're going to give him the answer that he wants to hear, and they don't. They give him and I guess that's the other thing is I think if it was a psyop, I think that they would have the people say crazier things or more inflammatory things. You know, like he asks the dad, he says, "Are these the values that you're teaching your? Are these the values that you're teaching your children?" And he says, "I'm teaching them the values of the Quran and my family."
Yeah, it's that scene is so intense, and it's like that you have this this Arab Muslim family, and it's actually done so well because they're so angry in the exact way that you like think of the Muslim people getting really angry and like really indignant, you know, like getting like really mad and like
It's totally
refusing to do
believable.
something. Yeah, and it's
That
like
the
they
dad
do it
wouldn't
so
sit
much,
down.
and then he just fucking kills all of them. It's fucking.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
not
like
in-
so. That is. I mean, it's satisfying not because you actually, you know, of course, it's ridiculous and it's over the top. But we have violent movies killing people all day. You know, it's like, dude, the end of Sinners is just a guy killing a bunch of white people for no reason. Because they're random Klansmen ish. You don't even really know, and it's just like, let's shoot up all the white guys. So this is just like the response to that, kind of in its own way, and also a lot more like real life.
Yeah.
What else? What else you got?
Oh,
What other points?
what did I want to say? I thought I had lots of things I want to say, and I still do. But I mean, he gives the SWAT team, you know, he gives them an out. You know, I mean, so I think either Conundrum or Granite had said, you know, that this guy is he's killing all of these white people, or he's killing all of these innocents, and that's what's wrong with it. And I think Uwe is trying to make a very distinct point, other than just having his fan service head blow up scene of saying that, you know, we need to get on the same page about what the problem is, and you guys can't keep enforcing this, I guess.
Yeah, he's
I mean,
definitely like got a code.
And I mean, I'm just, I guess that it was, maybe I'm just incredibly empathetic or something, but like it was driving me nuts to see them bully that kid on the park bench.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
it's just I mean,
it really did nail the it nailed the like
All my
aesthetic
soft spots.
quality of getting harassed by a minority in real life. Like it completely nailed like the feeling of that. And he's so white. It was so like it's really like a movie about maintaining frame, kind of. That's like at the end of the day, it's about the importance of maintaining frame and like not letting all of this fear get to you no matter how it's delivered, you know. And that's actually why it is good propaganda, because it's like just never like don't let any of these appeals to anything ever get to you, kind of.
Yeah, don't endorse anything of it. And I don't think there's any danger of Europeans. They don't have access to guns. I don't think they're going to do anything.
Right. That
They're
is
not going
true.
to be
It kept
encouraged. I
saying-
think it is a little. It would be a little bit if there's, you know, whatever, 16-year-olds that don't have their prefrontal cortex formed, seeing this movie. I don't know.
Yeah, it is true. It's like, where are the Europeans supposed to get that? It's like you got to go protect yourself, but it's like they don't have guns. So what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, no, yeah, no. I think there's. I feel like there's lots of other things to talk about, but I may
Yeah.
not be able to formulate it on the fly quick enough.
All good, man. Okay, cool, dude. Well, thank you so much for joining. And yeah, I'll direct people to your podcast about this. Appreciate the time. Great seeing you.
Cool, man. Nice to hang out, Isaac. Bye.
Peace.
Thank you.